Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Greetings. alishanmao here, and welcome to more 3D printing and 3D printer reviews. Today in this video, I am starting with the MSLA Resin 3D printing, for which I'm going with the Elegoo Mars 2 Pro 2K LCD MSLA Resin 3D printer with built-in activated carbon air purifier. I have been doing a whole lot of 3D printing with the FDM based printers, like those sitting in the background, and they use traditional filaments. So this is my very first time to put my hands on resin 3D printing technology. So in this video, not only you'll be able to watch my complete review of Elegoo Mars 2 Pro Resin 3D printer, but also I will share my experience of getting started with resin 3D printing, what I like about resin 3D printing, what I really dislike about resin 3D printing, how Elegoo Mars 2 Pro resin 3D printer made my first experience with resin 3D printing a very pleasant experience, and of course what I have been doing throughout this time. Any new printer, I always test them constantly, non-stop for 7 days. So Elegoo Mars 2 Pro has gone through 1,000 milliliter of resin 3D printing non-stop for almost 7 days. So that's what I'm gonna share with you, all these models that I have been printing and how was my experience with the Elegoo Mars 2 Pro and resin 3D printing. So if you're interested in MSLA or resin 3D printing, you're getting started into this, you're going to benefit a lot from this video. So stay with me and watch this video all the way. Let's get started. How this printer comes in the box, what you get, take a closer look at it, and then take it from there. So inside the box, I got a user manual and some kind of film that you might put on the tank, a resin tank. That's, I believe it is. Then I have a toolkit. Inside this box there are many more stuff which I will show you later, and then we have the Elegoo Mars 2 Pro resin 3D printer. When you take the covers off, the plastic covers, you have this case which will install the rubber sealing. Inside, carefully remove this foam and you will have the printing bed that you will prepare and install on the Z-axis. Make sure to remove the film on the bed and also remove the film on the touch screen LCD. Now inside the toolkit you have a whole lot of goodies. Starting with, you have a nipper. Yes, a brand new nipper, so that you can use it to peel the models off if something is really stuck very hard, or cut the models, trim the models. Then we have this piece to hang the bed for dripping, and we have a spatula, we have funnels, we have tools, a USB disc, then we have a power cable, a power adapter for your printer, 3 masks, good for COVID-19 era. We have a scraper, a rubber sealing for the case, and we have gloves, again good for resin 3D printing and also good for meeting people during COVID-19 era. Keeps you safe from everything. Now, I really love the look of Elegoo Mars 2 Pro. The only thing I kind of feel like when I looked at it on the website, it actually felt very big, and I was like, you know, I could really print something of good size, but when it arrived, I look at the bed size, I am kind of like, you know, this is really small. This is really small. So for the bigger parts of, you know, I really want to 3D print parts for my boat as well using this printer. You know, all these 3 printers. So bigger parts I will still have to print with the, you know, Shark V2, but the smaller parts we can also print with this and see if these are really nice and tough and stronger parts. I would like to print some key significant important parts with the Elegoo Mars 2 Resin printer, and we'll use those parts in my 3D printed electric boat, full-size electric boat project as well. So this was first thing that actually kind of disappointed me, that, you know, the size is really too small. But again, given the price, this is neat and good size. I mean, this is a good, big enough size. Okay, so there is this cover which is really nice. Red color, I like it. Ooh, check this out. This was a spider that actually appeared in my room one day, right next to my computer table, and I was able to take a picture and laser engrave it here. It looks really nice. Hello. Alright, so back to Mars 2 from Elegoo. Look at this nice, neat little LCD screen right here. Basically, the build quality, I'm very, very happy. There's like lots of CNC machine parts here. Very nice build quality. There's a USB port right here. Okay, then you have this bed that you can remove to remove your model, clean it up. And you have a 2K LCD screen, which you have to be very, very careful not to break it. Even if some of the debris from the previous prints has been left, you better clean it up. That's what I was told, and clean it by alcohol. And we have this kind of enclosure which actually will keep the resin in. Nice design at the right and left with these CNC machine parts. Okay. The Z-axis is going all the way here, okay? And at the back side, we have on-off switch, power supply. Down here, we have these kind of sticky, non-slippy legs, which actually hold the printer nice and do not let it slip or move. Because I think during the time when the SLA printer is printing, you cannot move it, otherwise the resin will have kind of waves in it. I'm not sure. I told you this is my very, very first time. So this is really nice and neat little printer, I can tell you that, and I simply love the looks of it. Looks very, very easy to use as well. Let's fire it up, set it up, and see how things go. Man, look at these shiny parts. Well, it's nighttime, everyone is sleeping, and I'm still playing with my new Elegoo Mars 2 Pro. Just finished this beautiful dragon. So I'm just gonna let it drip and then take it off the bed, wash it. And basically, so far, none of the print has failed. Ooh, again, another model finished printing. Man, this printer is fast. Not like the others. I will leave them for hours and keep working. This one, I put like 2, 3, 4 models at the same time, just to fit the bed, and it actually printed all. That is awesome. Now, let me get my mask ready. I got more gloves, more alcohol to wash, and get the print out. The vest is taking bath in alcohol, and Elegoo Mars 2 Pro is not gonna rest. I just copied another model which should take a lot of time. Another thing that I find, the LCD is really very nice and responsive. Very fine work right here. I simply love it, the way it works. And this is the part right there. Click, click. Now, one more thing that you're gonna love about SLA printers is that there's no waiting for heating up the bed. The other printers, the bed will heat up and then the nozzle will heat up. You know, there's nothing to wait for resin printers. As soon as you say go, the bed starts moving down. You just need to make sure there's enough resin in the bed right there, and we'll start printing. So this is one more thing that I am simply liking about the resin printer. In my case right here is the Elegoo Mars 2 Pro. So it's clean, I believe. No more dripping. A little bit if drips, I'll just let it drop in this container. And do not splash anything, please. There you go, nice and slow. Just drop in the alcohol. There you go. Good boy. I'll take some alcohol. Probably best to use this plastic one so I don't damage the surface. I have some of the resin, which I'm very careful enough and I'm not touching. Okay, install the bed again carefully, just like this. And I'm gonna start the other print. Do this one and see how it goes. Say yes. It starts printing again. There you go. Put this up. It has been sitting inside for you know, the problem I'm facing is that during the summer you can see how these plastic gloves, because of my sweat, they're getting really sticky. And basically I find, as I'm learning, I find that SLA printing can be a little tedious, more job to do, that you have to clean the model. Look how much sweat I have in my hands. So you have to buy extra accessories, extra stuff that you do not need in when you do FDM printing, you know, with the traditional printers that use PLA, PETG, stuff like that. So you have to buy gloves, napkins, alcohol. You have to do a lot of other things. However, yes, looking at the finished models, I can tell you this extra stuff is worth doing, especially if you're printing jewelry and other, you know, sophisticated, tiny, little, complex objects. This extra work is really worth, I mean, these extra things are really worth, and extra work is really worth doing, and the results is really nice. I'm simply liking the result. Now this is becoming my 3D printing, SLA 3D printing workstation. I put the printer here because there's a nice airflow going out of the big windows directly. As I mentioned, every time I start some model, I come back, it's already printed. So this is really fast, faster than I expected, and I love it, man. Look at that. These models actually printed really nice. I didn't use any supports for these ones, and I was worried that it might not print, not stick, but it is actually very nicely stuck on the bed that I'm afraid I'll break it. So I'm just gonna be a little careful. There you go, one model is down. Okay, another of my print is done. Well, I'm simply, you know, liking this thing. It prints pretty fast and results are really nice. And I'm just gonna put it for drip process. I like it that they provided you everything. This piece is sweet. One more thing I found, that this spatula kind of thing, it is a spatula, is kind of not good to scrap the models off from the bed. So what I do is I use it to simply move along with the surface on top. I don't know, this is the bottom of the bed, I think, and it actually, you know, drops whatever resin. I don't know how to pronounce it, but whatever it is, the liquid, it is really nice and easy to clean. You can see that this spatula basically just like a viper. I don't know, wiper, not viper. What happened to my accent pronunciation? Like a wiper on a car windshield, it actually drips. Cleans all this, you know, resin, whatever you call it. You know what I'm talking about, and it just drops down there. So I'm basically not wasting anything. Look at that. I'm just cleaning my spatula right here, and just now you saw one drop went down. So this is how I'm cleaning up everything. After this is dripped, then I will take it out and start washing it. And now, about the working of this printer. It was working the whole night. The whole last night it worked. Finished two different models. All day long it worked. And basically before last night it was also working all day. So I don't know what I'm trying to say is that this printer is also working non-stop. Now check this out. Here's a comparison of Resin 3D print versus the FDM traditional 3D prints. Now these were 3D printed with the Shark SC10 Plus FDM 3D printer using PLA, and these are printed with the Mars 2 Pro, the Resin 3D printer, LCD Resin 3D printers. Now as you can see, these models have turned out with extremely detailed looks inside and outside, okay, and are very nice and shiny. While here I see this was a normal print. They are also very nice, but not that kind of shiny. Also, you can see the inside. You can have the details, but not in that type, not in that high details. As this model, you can see inside. I don't see teeth inside this model, but here, down there, but here, down here in this one, I can see those little teeth. So those little teeth, row of teeth, really printing very nicely. On the very first eye, for the noobs or beginners, they won't see any difference, but as you go more deep into 3D printing, you will realize that the Resin 3D printing generates more detailed models, more nice, shiny, and tougher and stronger models compared to the FDM printing. Now obviously I had to learn a new software as well, new slicer software as well, but ChituBox software is really very easy to use. And these are all the models that I have been 3D printing. Some of them are my own design and some I downloaded from Thingiverse and Cult 3D. This is the 3D printed from Elegoo by Elegoo Mars 2 Pro. Look at this fantasy plane model, okay? It actually came out really very nice and very fine. And it's like Resin is nice and tough. Now we have the other model, which was a smaller, and I made it even more small because of the size of the printing bed I have. And you can see that this model also 3D printed really well. Nice and shiny look right here. After that, I have my little train toy right here, and you can see this also got printed very well, except that there are some bubbles that left here, which I forgot to clean after washing from by the alcohol. So I realized that I have to really wash the models nicely and make sure there are no bubbles left, otherwise you will have these anomalies here. You can see on the bottom, I see that it's kind of round. It's kind of slightly round, and I can see where the supports were actually holding it. Okay. After that, I have my own design. These two. Okay. This is the star vase, a vase that you can put little objects in, or you can simply, use it for a decoration. Then I have another one that I designed for putting a small candle inside. Okay, these two actually turned out to be very good, but again, as you can see on the bottom right here, always if it is not dried properly, not cleaned properly, where you put it, some of the resin that is still didn't dry will leave some kind of marks here. Then for some details, I have this little design that I just did yesterday, a small ring, and actually fits in my finger really nicely right here. It says a little heart and then love on it. The ring actually printed very well, but as I can see right here, love, these characters are actually getting a little bit smudged together. They're kind of joined together. but overall it still looks very, very good. So I have two of these rings right here, and they actually look very, very nice. I went with what I'm doing these days, that I'm 3D printing electric paramotor parts, and I tried to 3D print one of the parts, which actually I forgot the resin was not enough, and resin finished, so the part didn't actually finish completely, but this part, this side is completely finished. As you can see, the part actually came out really nice. And the thing that I didn't like about it is that it's very heavy. Compared to a 3D printed part, this half 3D printed part is really very heavy. However, the kind of strength this part has, the filament based FDM printing is not going to offer this kind of toughness that resin offers. So this is really very, very hard part, very tough part, and you know, not going to break at all, but it's very, very heavy. So the very first model that I 3D printed with the Elegoo Mars 2 Pro, of course, is this root right here, which is a kind of a chess piece, okay? And it actually printed very well. My very first print came out so nice that I was very, very happy about it, and it actually encouraged me to experiment more and print more models. Going ahead with a downloaded model, which is a dragon, and as you can see, the amount of details this model has, all these little spikes right here, the detail on the head, those are really very tiny details, and you can only 3D print with MSLA Resin 3D printers. I mean, a 4K model might have printed even better, but 2K LCD model is doing this much detail is simply amazing. Now for more details, I've been printing these Star Wars models that I downloaded from Cults 3D or Thingiverse. I believe I will leave the link in the video descriptions for these models, but you can see they printed very well. And the thing that surprises me is that MSLA 3D printers, they print a whole lot of details. Look at these little antennas right here. I hope you can see them. These little antennas printed. This is not just it. This is not surprising. I have one more model right here. The thing is this model of a robot from Star Wars, which I kind of broke the arms when I was removing this supports. But look at that. If you can see, that little antenna, that thin antenna on the back box right here on the rear box is even printed. I hope the camera is watching it, but look at this detail. I mean, this little antenna even got printed, which is amazing. I am really, really surprised that Elegoo Mars 2 Pro actually printed that little antenna as well. And we have more models like these sandworms from Dune game, one of my most favorite in the past. Look at those little teeth inside, those got printed as well. And then we have this detailed model of Terminator T-Rex, you know, kind of robotic T-Rex head. Look at the details on this thing. I actually colored the eyes and teeth, of course, but the way this model printed in details, I am really very, very happy with all these details. It's nice and tough as well. And then we have this, my another favorite character, T-800 from Terminator movie, and look at that. It printed really nice. So MSLA or Resin 3D printers are basically very, very good for 3D printing such kind of science fiction models, 3D printing jewelry, and much more smaller models that require more details. The MSLA 3D printers are really, really nice. Then I have this just did yesterday, last night. I can see that some of the resin is not dried yet. I have to wash my hand. This is a soap dish that I designed for my bathroom use, and it came out really very nice. And then we have this bangle as well, the bracelet, which came out very well. My hand cannot fit it, but this is going to marry as my gift with these two, you know, loving rings for her that I printed. Let's talk about some important stuff, and that is what I like about Resin 3D printers. And in the case, and in my case right here, is the Elegoo Mars 2 Pro 2K LCD MSLA Resin 3D printer. Now, first thing that I like about it, this printer is very, very quiet. Okay, it's really absolutely quiet because the only moving part is something that is going up and down, and it's also very, very slow speed, and it's very quiet. So there's no noise. There's a little fan. There's a little noise of fan running all the time inside, and that is because the activated carbon built-in air purifier, which is always working while the printer is on and 3D printing, and it actually does a very, very good job to reduce the smell and absorbing those toxic fumes coming out of the resin. It actually absorbs those, and even in this small closed room when I'm 3D printing, I do not feel much smell. I feel a very little smell of resin, but not much. To be honest, the air purifier works very well, keeping the keeping the atmosphere much more clean around the 3D printer while it's 3D printing. Given that you have to keep this cover on, the red cover on, with a sealing, rubber sealing down here, and only then the air purifier will do its job properly. If you leave the cover open, obviously all the fumes are going to come out. So keep the cover on, all the fumes, all the smell will go through the activated carbon air purifier and then come out from behind the printer, and it will be fresh air, slightly fresh air. You have a little bit of a smell still, but not complete fumes that you are going to inhale. Next, no more heated bed, no more heated nozzles, no more clogged nozzles or jammed nozzles to clean, no more waiting before the model printing. The bed will heat, the nozzle will heat up, and then the whole room will get warm while you're printing. In terms of, I'm talking about the FDM traditional 3D printers. When it comes to the resin 3D printers, there's no such thing. So there's no bed heating, no nozzle heating, nothing. It works immediately. As soon as you press the play button to start printing your model, it goes straight down and start printing right away. And that means the resin LCD printers are faster than the traditional printers. Another good point is you can put multiple models, as many models as possible, to fit on the size of this bed. And MSLA means all the models will print simultaneously. This means it will light up all the layers at one time for all the models, and step by step go up and print every model. Each and every model will be printed simultaneously, saving you a lot of time, and that is why MSLA 3D printers are fast compared to the traditional FDM 3D printers. Finally, not to mention that the 3D prints out of the resin or MSLA 3D printers have more quality on it, more details on them, and they are tougher based on what kind of resin are you using. There are different types of resin. You can even 3D print very soft and flexible models. So depending on what type of resin you're using, you can end up with some very highly detailed, tough models. Of course, there are many more advantages of resin 3D printers, and as I find them on my way of learning in resin 3D printing technology, I would be able to share it with you time by time. If you know some, please do put them in the video comments. Now let's talk about the things that I do not like about resin 3D printers. Yeah, resin 3D printers come with resin. That means you have to deal with the resin. Now, resins can be very, very toxic and very, very irritated with your skin, for your skin. So you have to wear gloves all the time. This means you have additional expenses. You have to buy gloves. Normally you buy disposable gloves, and after using the gloves once, you are not going to wear them again. So for one model printing or one session of printing, you will go through one pair of glove, and after that you have to dispose them off properly and responsibly. So dealing with resin 3D printers, there are extra expenses, and first one is obviously the gloves. The second one, mask. Some people really do not like the smell of the fume, and sometimes they even feel bad with the fumes when they inhale because they can be very, very toxic, and it is suggested that you do not use the 3D printers in a closed environment but in an open ventilated room. So masks are other expenses that you have to do, and also do protect your eyes. You don't want to have the resin go in your eyes. You have only 2 eyes and once in a lifetime, so you're not gonna get those eyes again. So do protect your eyes, do protect your hands, because you may get dermatitis from the resin, the type of resin you're using. Depending on what type of resin you're using, people can get dermatitis, people can get really itchy and can develop allergies from the resin. Another thing that I dislike about is that every time you 3D print a model, you have to wash it in, you know, alcohol. So you have to buy alcohol. That's another expense. That's another expense that you have to do. You have to buy and keep alcohol in your home. So every time you 3D print a model, you have to wash it in alcohol for 2 to 3 minutes. And then next thing that you're not gonna like about it, that after washing in alcohol your model, you have to dry them. So you have to have a UV box. Either you have to build one or buy one, a UV box to dry your models, or use the natural UV source, the sun. So during the daytime when the sun is shining, you can dry the models easily. But if you're doing the printing at night and your model finishes at night, you have to wait for the daytime for the sun to come out, and then you have to dry your model. So this is another thing that I do not like, that you have to dry the model. There's a whole lot of things that you have to worry about to clean the bed and everything. Sometimes you even have to wash the tank and make sure there's nothing inside. Especially after every failed 3D print, you have to do a lot of washing. You have to do a lot of work, you know, to wash the tank, clean the tank, wash the tank, and make sure there's no debris in it. But in my case, with the Elegoo Mars 2 Pro, what I find is it's kind of not con, it's a pro. It's a good thing that if you have a failed 3D print, all you need to do is clean the bed, which is very, very easy. Wash it with the alcohol, very easy. And then there's an option here in the 3D printer where you can say clean the tank, give it a 35-second UV light exposure, and you will have a very fine 1 millimeter of big, square for the whole bed from the resin that got cured, and you can simply pick it up and it will have all the debris on it, and you can just discard it responsibly in a dustbin or a trash can, and your tank is clean. But if you are in a doubt, you can always empty the tank. You need to have a funnel. Luckily, the Elegoo Mars 2 Pro comes with many of these funnels that you can use to clean your tank and put the unused resin back into the bottles as well. These were the things that I didn't like about, but hey, when it comes to resin 3D printing, you have to deal with all these things. You have to deal with all these things. This is all the part of this technology. This is all the part of this process. This is all the part of learning, and you have to go with it. But as you go with it, you will find you will get used to it, and everything becomes like a routine, and everything becomes easier over time. So if I compare all the good things and the things that I don't like about it, I would still say I still love the resin 3D printing technology, because all that extra effort, all those extra expenses that you're gonna do for the resin 3D printing are really worth. When you will pick up your finished models, and you'll be able to use them, you will say, all this extra effort and all these extra expenses are really worth it. For that type of 3D printing, for that type of result, I would say the extra effort, the extra expenses are really worth doing it. And guess what? Because I love this technology a lot more, I have just ordered a new type of resin, which is water washable. Yes, there's a water washable resin, and you can order it online. That means you don't have to buy alcohol anymore. You can just take your model, take it to the water tap. You can just remove the bed and take it to the water tap and just wash it right away, and you're good to go with that drying or curing the model under the UV light, under the sun, or in the UV box. So thank you very much for watching this video, the lengthy video, and all my talks. I'm sure it was a boring video, but if you really want to get into resin LCD 3D printing, I believe this talk, this sharing of my experience is really, really going to help you. Thank you very much once again. Give this video a big like and stay subscribed to my channel and stay updated for all the upcoming new uploads. If you like the Elegoo Mars 2 Pro Resin 3D printer, the links are in video description. This printer has definitely made my Resin 3D printing experience a very, very pleasant experience. Come on, you know what to do. Hit that like button. It's right there. I know you can do it. Oh, while you're at it, also hit the subscribe button. Right there. Come on, don't be shy. Just hit it. Thank you very much for all your support towards my work, that I post regular and fresh content on my channel just for you. Hit that like button right there.